Hey Evie, welcome. Happy Thursday, Puza Thursday. Puza amanzi though. So I'm just gonna play some music in the background while I wait for Umzo to connect. Waiting for a few more people. Hello Tum Tums! I see you right there. Hey Boosie, welcome. Oh Evie, it's time to hydrate. Yay, the grooming social has just connected. I heard you into oblivion. Hello, sir.
Hey,
How you doing?
very well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm just gonna fix my technicalities aside. Are you sorted?
I think so. Am I clear? Is the sound clear?
Sound is clear. I can see you. Is there a bit more light? Because you're in the dark. Do you have some more light, or is that
Yeah. Give me a second. I'll come.
okay?
Let me get some.
Cool.
Let me get some lights. Yeah.
All right. Hello to everybody who's just connected. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mzo's gonna join us back. He's just trying to sort out the lighting. And I'll play us some music. I love Impossibina. I'll play us a bit of music while we wait. Hello, she's Kiki, and hello, Keke. She's Kiki and Keke joined at the same time. Hello, guys. Appreciating you taking the time to do this. Girl, Impossibina is the business. I love her too. I literally listen to her every single day. Himunza says I must play some Mandisi Diantis. I don't know how to say that last name. I'll find Mandisi. Thank you for the recommendation, Himunza. I'll check it out. I'll let you know. Okay, so it's back. I'm gonna accept his request. Thank you for the heads up, Himunza. I'll do that. Yeah, I'll give the recommendation. You cool?
Is that any better?
It is slightly better. If you can just maybe move back a little bit, yeah, because then your head was sort of cut off. So I think that works.
Better?
Maybe a little bit too far, so a little bit closer. A little bit closer. Yeah. You can see you.
I
We're
might
good.
need to use. Is it fine?
It's fine. Is there a window at the back? Because I think there's some light coming from the outside, and it does have an effect. Also, it makes it a little bit dark in terms of your face. You want to see every expression when you talk. Yeah, maybe a different angle. We're playing musical chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is better. Better. As long as you're comfortable, that's the key thing, so that our conversation can flow. We need you to be comfortable.
Any better?
Yes, we're happy. We're happy. We're happy. Settled.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Alrighty. So, welcome to the Royal Corner and a happy Thursday. So, I'm very honored. I feel very honored that you have agreed from the Grooming Social to obviously join in on the conversation. I anticipate that we'll have a really great chat because I think you're such a king, and my audience normally, expect that we connect on a Saturday. So, trying out this Thursday, wanting to see how it works out. So, thank you for making the time.
Most welcome, Susie. I
Cool.
see
I
your
saw you.
audience have. I see your audience have sent some messages to say great, better. So I'm feeling more comfortable that the angle is a little bit better.
Yeah. And I see Taban has also just joined us. Have you seen? Did you see that?
That's my brother.
Shout out Taban. Um,
That's my.
cool. So let's get right into it. Like I said, thank you for making the time, and thank you to everyone who's connected to the chat. Let's have fun with it. I think there's a lot for us to learn from the conversation that we are having today. I saw your facial expression changing there a bit when I said, I think you're such a king. You were just like, what? Me? A king?
A lot. That's a lot of pressure.
No, no pressure. I think we're all born kings and queens, so you are one as well.
Okay.
And on that note, who is Mzo? Because obviously you're here through the Grooming Social, but you as Mzo representing the Grooming Social, we want to know a bit more about you just to kick off.
Jimmy comes to Joburg, born in the Eastern Cape, Mthatha to be exact. Uh, that one same hospital, that's the main one on the outskirts, on the border of Mthatha.
Yeah.
A good 34 years ago. And I think, growing up was in between KZN and the Eastern Cape. But the weird and the blessing thing is that I've actually came to realize all of my dreams uh, in the back of my mind, and subconsciously I've always thought that I would be out there doing something impactful, creative, um, life changing, and over the growth of my career, I've came to realize my dreams. You know, I take myself to be an ambitious young man, and my career spreads across fashion into marketing. I'm celebrating 10 years in the advertising space in this year. My career
Wow.
did start into fashion and ultimately into the marketing and the advertising space. Um, yeah, that's who I am from a career perspective. My professional role in advertising is strategy, and I went into the digital world of strategy a good 5 years ago. I was part of a good 5 6 years ago. I was part of the interchange of traditional marketing changing into an offering of digital and social. I've worked on some of the biggest campaigns in the country over the years. To name a few, I've been part of Carling Black Label, Be the Coach from its inception. I've worked at agencies such as Hello Computer, FCB, Cerebra, Wonderman. I've worked on big brands. I've worked on small brands. I've worked on small businesses. I've worked on big businesses. I've worked on global and local campaigns. And I'm fortunate to be somebody that's in the corporate space. I consider it to be
Hi, Mzo. You are hanging there, so I just want to see from the audience, because from my side you're hanging. I want to know, anyone just give me a signal if you are experiencing the same. Uh, oh, Tloki, I love his wines as well. I actually tried his MCC and one of the whites. Somebody give a heads up, please. Okay, he's had to leave, I guess. The connection is a bit of a problem. So while he's gone, I actually need to also just pin what this conversation is about. Thank you, Chef Mlu, for confirming that. Uh, okay, so he sent in a request again. Cool. Let's welcome him back. Right. Okay. Welcome back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. I know technology sometimes does its own thing, but we can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we lost network outside there.
Yeah. I know it's
Yeah.
always, these times also when you're doing live interviews, you're just like, you know what, let's keep trying and just roll with it. But I'm happy to have you back. Do you remember where you had left off? You were just telling us about your professional experience and how far you've come.
Yeah, so 10 years this year, celebrating that in advertising.
Wow.
And it's been exciting. It's been exciting. I've worked on global campaigns, on local campaigns. I've worked on big brands. I've worked on small brands. And today I am an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner, and we own a business in the advertising and the digital space. That's our main offering. I am also a founder and the head curator at the Grooming Social platform, which is majority of what the conversation around is centered. There's a lot to celebrate. End of September marks 3 years of building the platform, the Grooming Social. Three
Wow.
years in operating and managing it, but a good, say, 4.5 years. You spend like, when you're younger, you spend some time with a lot of ideas in your head and you never really do it. So prior to us launching the platform a good 3 years ago now, we were probably toying around the idea for a good 1.5 years, and we weren't really getting around it. So yeah, man, yeah.
Sure. Wow. This is a big one for you. I mean, 10 years having done what you've been doing, and now 3 years with the Grooming Social, quite seasoned. And you said you were about to shy away from being called a king. You are, and I've seen a few comments here where people are attesting to the fact that you are such a king. And with Chef Mlu now saying you're an inspiration. You're an inspiration. Um,
Somebody must have paid them.
hey?
Somebody must have paid them.
Well, they must have paid them really good money for them to decide that on a Thursday evening at 6 o'clock they're gonna come here and hype you up. It must be really good money.
I,
So I'm curious. I mean, sure, I'm quite excited, and to be engaging it with someone like yourself as a young black man with the sort of experience that you have. I think there's a lot for us to learn with the birthing of the Grooming Social. I mean, I'm quite excited to just explore what that is about, and you celebrating the 3-year milestone. How has the journey been for you from inception? You obviously speak about all the background work that happened before the 3 years, but where did that journey start?
so I mean, this is a table idea, and what a table idea is sitting across a bar, a lunch table, or a family table with a friend of yours that you're working in business with, and saying, you know, what are some of the ways in which we can bring society, people, and brands together in one space? And at the time, and it still very much is, one of the things that we realize is that we have ongoing conversations that we have in small pockets, and those conversations are rich, right? So I go and I meet a mentor, a friend of mine, and we have a really rich conversation about economics. And we never really put that conversation on any particular platform for people who are part of a network and who are the right people to get to actually live amongst that conversation. And I want to highlight that the grooming social platform is not a networking opportunity. Nobody is challenged to come there because you wear a particular type of title, right? So it's not a CEO's platform, it's not an MD's platform, it's not a who's platform. And we haven't built it even with the focus of celebrities and influencers. Then we have just around the key criteria of what are the challenges, what are the successes, what is it do we want to discuss in where we are in this particular era, and channeling the next solutions that we should bring in our society that we want to bring to the table. So every other edition has a particular theme based on that. That's the one thing. In anything that you build, you have to have a particular type of pillar scheme and a particular type of presentation of what is the brand DNA about, or how do you actually structure those conversations. We have
The signal is messing with us. I see he's hanging again, but we keep pushing on. So I'm just going to go through some of the comments while we wait for him to try and reconnect there. So Chef Blue says, I don't even drink, but I've been buying from the grooming social selection. I even advocate for the brand as if I've tasted the products. Are you back? You're good. You're here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You're with us now. Don't despair. This does happen sometimes.
It's SADV. They're the ones that I pay internet for.
Eh?
It's SADV. They're the ones that I'm paying fiber for.
Oh yeah, we must blame them. We're going after them. Thank you for giving us their name. We're going after them. They must sort this out.
So,
Yeah.
so where I was is to say, you know, you have to build a particular type of presentation of what your brand DNA and your offering is about. So the secondary element, besides us building a progressive conversation platform, is to say what type of themes and what type of pillars do we work with. And we went for a very easy to remember type of naming convention. All of our pillars actually are just representative of the letters in the alphabet, but only up to what our platform is about. So arts, business, culture, design, entertainment, lifestyle, and the good life. Always easy for me to remember when we present. It's basically A, B, C, D, E, and all the way across. So then, with those different type of pillars, when we present our platform to a corporate or to a brand, we already analytically think about what is the fit for that particular corporate in what we're doing. Is it in the art space? And how can that corporate bring its own campaign, its own activation, its own brand direction and marketing activity to fit in what we're doing in the platform? We've been lucky enough over the past 3 years to work with some really brilliant brands. But I mean, from the inception of it, from the start, we did not get as much luck as we are finding ourselves in now, you know. The journey was challenging more than it is in where we develop and going now. I mean, I think the good first 4 editions in our first year was self-funded.
Sure.
No profit, all just loss, all believing in the journey and putting something out there where it was so much about the type of people that we want to come to the platform and be a part of the platform. We still believe in that. We still put ourselves on the front line and do the best that we can to build this particular platform, whether we have the investment or not. But what I'm saying is that over the past 2 years, we've received much more support than we would have in the previous years. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I suppose that also speaks to the groundwork that you had to do beforehand and I don't think we can attribute it to luck. We've had to put in some work. You've had to put in some work to see the fruits of that work. Now you speak about, the different editions and so on. Can you maybe chat us through at a specific edition, like how frequent are these? Because I obviously have never attended any of the sessions. What does that look like? Is it different each time? How does it look? And I know that it's obviously these progressive conversations that are happening, but what does it actually look like?
We have 4 events in the calendar year for Johannesburg, and that is 1 event per quarter. So that's the planning. In between that, we have what we call breakaway experiences, where we do a themed event that fits. Example, last month would have been a Women's Month themed breakaway experience, and we did something like that in the past year. We pay a lot of attention as to, one, where are people in society, and based on what is it we've done and what do we want to bring to the table. So we're not reactive as much as we are futuristic in our planning. So example, gender-based violence, we've spoken about. We've challenged people in our audience and people around us to be so much more active as to what is your actual responsibility and how do you make change in your community in topics that are such as gender-based violence. So in this particular time, we wouldn't go and do an edition that's based on gender-based violence because that's the biggest conversation. Those are trending topics that are part of what's going on social media, and that's brilliant for a sense of awareness and for people to be aware of what is it we need to change as a country. However, we want to know what the solves are and what the solutions are, and who is that person who's telling that story and how comfortable are they. And for us,
okay, technology doing its thing again. But we'll be patient. He will be back. There we go. Yes, we can hear you, Zo.
Yeah, so I'm saying we want to be very much more futuristic in our planning, in how we plan our editions, and that's basically our approach to how we plan our eventing. We have a theme. That theme is aligned to every different quarter. Besides the four.
Chef Ndu. Happy, you're on board again.
Besides the 4 editions in Johannesburg, we do go out in Durban and Cape Town. And on a year that's unlike COVID, we have 2 editions in Durban and Cape Town, which gives us a total of 8 events in the year. Yeah.
Wow. There must be quite a lot of planning that's involved with that. So there's a question here, and you're also just touching on it now. Obviously, besides COVID, we are... Okay, I guess I have to pause my question because he's hanging again. I'll wait for him. Yes, you can hear me, right? Cool.
Well, the planning
Yeah.
is not as busy as an event business goes into. We've got time in between. And I guess because every edition is different, it's exciting. It's never the same type of approach. I think, there's a fair bit of planning, but I think it's not that overwhelming.
It's reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, now we are finding ourselves in a world that's actually changed. It's not even changing. It's changed. And I think we've had to adapt quite a bit. So with a platform like the Grooming Social, what is it that you found has been, like how have you had to transform yourselves and almost pivot in this time, and how have you stayed true to what the cause is? Because for me, it sounds like the Grooming Social is very much about being a catalyst for change in our society. and you have a certain vision for it. So in this time that we are suddenly finding ourselves here, how have you almost sort of adapted and still kept that vision going?
We had one edition this year. We've only had one edition besides this conversation engagement. And that particular edition was right at the beginning of lockdown. We brought in a medical expert. I mean, her portfolio is very vast. She's involved in, say, 5 different medical institutions just in Johannesburg alone. And she still is, and she was very much hands-on on the planning and the strategic direction around COVID-19 in Gauteng. And what we were saying at that time is that, I mean, when this whole thing started, maybe some, and not me, understood the dynamics better, but I didn't. And we thought to ourselves that, what is social distancing? What is, how do you behave at home? How do you wear a mask? Which mask? And all dynamics up to what the impact to the economy is in COVID-19. We saw the opportunity for us to be able to bring a conversation to our audience that is enlightening and also highly informative when we went into lockdown back on the 26th of March. I stand to be corrected. I think it was 26th that we had the edition. Post that, we took a step back and we said, let's look at how people who are around the audience get to develop and grow themselves. And also, there's a health element in this whole thing. So you're almost like, it's a give and take situation. You can't be too promotional and too planning and, you know. So we took a step back and said, what does this year look like for us? The first thing we went into was some house cleaning. We said, okay, we've been developing the platform for the past 8 years. What is it are we lacking? What is it are we not lacking? And how do we develop the brand? How do we continue to build that? It might not necessarily be for this particular year, but for the future. The one thing that's at the center of our strategic planning right now is brand sentiment. What we always want is to build a particular type of sentiment with our stakeholders, our audience, and our partners. And some of those things we're actually not doing on the forefront. It's not out on social, but there's corporates that we're planning future engagements with. There's different businesses that we're saying, you have a particular entity, you impact society, this is what we've built, how can we work further? So there's a lot of opportunity for that right now without having an addition every second month and only having a short time period in planning for that. We are going through a 2.0 with the medical practitioner just because it is right in where we are. You know, COVID is still amongst us, and our audience also has came back to us and say, hey, we need a catch up for that. We have 2 corporates we're speaking to where we're not finalized, where we want to create something that's more on the progressive conversation side. It will be online engagements. We've invested quite a bit on online and digital tools, which we hadn't had in past, and there's going to be some launches that we're going to be publishing in the coming weeks. We've launched a spirits and wine offering. What we actually did is, in the past 2 years, we built partnerships with brands who are in the spirits and wine space to do what would be a tasting or a food pairing or an activation in our space. So when we're thinking about how do we build revenue and
Okay. The connection is hating on us. There we go.
yeah. So when we're thinking about how do we build revenue and show value as a platform, and how do we start building owned channels aside from only looking at partnership through corporates, the spirits and wine offering was one of the first businesses that came to mind. We didn't know that we were going to go into such a high demand of
welcome to everybody that's just joined. So Mzo is connected. We're getting quite a lot of insight about building brands. There we go. Yes. Yeah, Mzo, you're here?
Yeah. We when we launched the spirits and wine offering, we didn't know that we would actually go into such a an active year and also at the same time an extremely challenging year.
Okay. Hopefully he connects quite soon. But he's speaking of the spirits and the wines, and I've seen quite a few comments of people saying that, attesting obviously to how amazing the wine offering is. So Mzo, while you're away in between, I try and like just chat about whatever, and I was just saying, I saw a few comments earlier in the conversation, you must have missed them as well, where people are actually attesting to the wines that you've actually been providing and how delicious they are.
Glad to hear. I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear.
And
Yeah, I did the whole log out, log in.
did you log out of your connection, your internet connection? I don't know. It's hating on us, but while he's away, I'm trying this gin. I got this Gologo gin. I don't know if some of you have had it. I've only had people say good things about it, so I'm quite excited. I haven't tried it yet. I will be trying it this weekend. And I love also, like if you can see, I don't know, I think my light is too bright. I think I'm just so sold on that. It is beautiful. So he's left the conversation. I think he's going to try and join in again. But welcome to everybody. And I'm really grateful that you have joined in to this conversation. Quite excited. Let's see some of the comments and the questions in the meantime. Okay, these are all questions that he would be able to ask, obviously, because they're very like more on brand building. Alrighty, so shall I play some background music while we wait? I'm sure he's going to connect shortly. So let's see. Chef Lulu says she bought the gin and the Queen Nandi. The people who tried it at your expense love it. I love that you're that person who does not drink alcohol, but you're willing to buy it for the people around you. You're a keeper, definitely a keeper. And then Laura of Kiki is asking, who's the gentleman on the cover of the gin? I don't know. We'll ask him when he comes back on, but he's an old gentleman, looks like a very soulful individual. And what it says a sacred treasure. Let me turn down my volume. It says a sacred treasure, handcrafted heritage, pushing the boundaries of what a spirit can be. Whoa, quite deep. And what you've got on the front, what's written there is just which batch it comes from and then which blend of gin it is. So it says Zulu dry gin. I mean, have you ever? Dig it. I love it. I feel like I'm even going to keep this bottle after I've had this gin. Okay, there he comes back. Tabang asking for umpago. Yeah, I'll pass on, make sure I pass on that message as soon as he connects, because he's gonna obviously miss that comment. Welcome back.
Hey, yeah.
While you are away, there are a few people who've been ordering here. Tabang is one of them. He says he wants umpago. He's traveling this weekend, so he wants some good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. How going to Wama Lumpago?
Well, fortunately, I mean, I'm not Xhosa, but I understand what that means. How it's my how it's my kamofago.
Then nakawahamba ekhaya uphinde ubuye lomphago.
Veles captain must come back with something. He doesn't just go. There must be something when it comes back. I was just showing them the gin that I got from you because I have it right here. I haven't tried it as yet. I am dying to try it because I've only heard good stuff about it. So yeah, we can continue.
You won't go wrong. I heard that part. Yeah.
Oh, did you hear it? Okay. Awesome
Yeah,
stuff.
I apologize. I'm connected on internet at home, but for some reason it just keeps cutting. I have no idea what's happening.
It's okay. We're happy to have you back.
Yeah.
So I there were a few questions. There was a question, let me see, I'm just scrolling. So one of the questions is, when you envisioned this brand, did you and your team think the concept would evolve into what it is now?
No, it didn't. There's a lot of growth and adapting that we worked through here. I mean, the first thinking was actually a platform for men, because what it was that we felt that there isn't a space for men. Um, Going into a marriage, going into ilobolo, going into a career change, different types of challenges and also successes. We're not only a heavy topical platform. We also celebrate. We also have a fun side to it. But what we realize is that it can't only be a platform that has one particular focus on one gender. And we made it to be a platform that worked for both men and female. Our SKU, which is a marketing terminology, which just means balance in simplicity, at
Oh,
start was more higher and leaning toward male, above 50%, even in engagement on social, in attendance, in presentation of platform, in partnerships, in focus, in category. We've done the best that we can to make the balance, and we continue to. It hasn't been easy because, when you start with one particular gender focus, you attract that. And when you then interchange, you're bound to lose the other while bringing the other gender into play. What we got to realize is that a lot of our female audience started inviting their friends, their family, their partners to the actual editions. I mean, the beauty is that we've got direct feedback across the board in what we do. Even the offering I speak of, we have the conversations with our customers. We have the conversation with our audience. We do surveys. We do a feedback loop. So we get feedback, it being positive or negative. We know exactly what the balance of sentiment is with our audience. So I mean, what I lost my train of thought there, but basically what I'm saying is that we've developed it over time. Yeah.
wow. You're saying something quite important. Obviously you guys having started as a predominantly male-focused platform and having to evolve and say, you know what, no, let's rope the ladies in. I think that's such a good thing because often, especially given the type of conversations that you are having in these editions and even the fun side, it's so critical, I think, in our society that we bring each other into these conversations. We don't want to create almost a divide where it's the men and it's the women. That has happened for so long, and that's why sometimes we find that we have the issues that we have. But if we're sitting together at the table and having those progressive conversations together, we go much further, much, much further. So kudos to
You,
you for that. Big ups for identifying that quite early on.
you've said it right there. The other thing is that the growth, what you're saying, and I'm just going to add to it. If we have a focus to partner and work with corporates, corporates have a majority of corporates, particularly in the product space, have what they would call a core range in their offering.
Papa, pedi, stemless loss for the stability. That's funny. Yes, and so? No, go. I was reading a comment. Papa, pedi comment. I love it.
Yeah, that's a very humorous brother. I know him. Yeah. So
Nice.
what I was saying is that majority of corporates who are in the product space would have what you call a core range, whatever the product is. And then they, yeah,
Yes.
can you hear me? Yeah.
Yep.
Look, diversity is key. That's what I'm saying.
Very, very important. And the second thing was just around the feedback. And Kiki's also saying it there, the way you're committed to getting feedback, I think it's such a critical thing, especially with what you're doing, whether it's negative or positive. I mean, feedback is only there to help also elevate you to the next level, to help you if you're doing something great, to get the positive feedback is obviously, okay, I'm gonna pause because you'll miss what I'm saying. I'll pause. Oh, hey, the signal. For those of you who are just watching this for the first time, what I normally do is that I save these on my Instagram TV, so you will still be able to go and view it after the conversation. Not to worry, we can check in later. Okay, so he's left the conversation, but I know he will be back. Let's just go through some of the comments. Yeah, Chef Muller, I actually love that the labeling is handwritten in pen. You know when I got it, so I picked it up yesterday, and I was like, wow, I love that this thing is written in pen. It's someone's handwriting. It really makes it very, very exclusive, and I love that it's not busy. The packaging is not busy. It's very neat and simple. I think they're doing great work. So yeah, let's wait for him to come back on. Hello, Bulelwa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So you've just connected now. We have Nzo. He just had to leave because the signal is giving him a bit of trouble, but he will rejoin. We've had to do this a couple of times in the conversation. But I think for me now, because I've done these quite a number of times, these live conversations, I've learned to just roll with it. Sometimes it can be very, very frustrating. If any of you were watching the one I had last week Saturday, that was painful. That one, the network was even worse. So please just be patient. She will be back. And what I'll do, I mean, he is connected via the grooming social. Okay, wait, let's see. Oh man. Anyway, it's always so awkward being here waiting for my interviewees to reconnect. But we wait patiently. We wait. I don't know about you guys, but I'm extremely inspired to see one of our brothers doing such a great job. And even during the week we were chatting and he was sending me just a few things like his profile, so exceptionally done. He is committed to excellence. I was even telling him earlier, we were having a telephonic chat and I said, wow, you are so focused. So, so focused. Everything is done to the T. Ooh, okay, I'm hoping. Nelson, he really, really is. And I'm actually quite curious to hear because, I know that he's head curator at the Grooming Social and that I want to know what that actually means and what it entails. What's interesting is I actually met him for the first time yesterday, but I have been having conversations with him for a couple of months now since the beginning of lockdown. Um, Only because, we were introduced by someone that I know and I needed something from him. So that's how, then I realized, wow, I decided I want to feature him on the platform because I think he's got a lot to share with the world and he started something quite amazing. So I'm also curious to hear about the team behind the Grooming Social because I'm pretty sure, I mean, can be an easy thing to do. So you do need a team. Yeah, it would be great to hear. Has anyone been to any one of the editions? That would be good to hear. That's good feedback. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
I'm using a different phone and connection completely. I hope it works.
Yeah, it's hopefully it does. We still have about 20 minutes of the conversation to go, so crossing
We can
fingers.
we can add a little bit more time if needed on the stuff that was missed. I've got the time if you have the time.
Awesome, perfect. So what I'll do, because normally what we'll do, I do save these on my Instagram TV. So when we cut off after an hour, I'll just save it quickly and then we'll reconnect again.
Okay.
Awesome stuff. I'm pretty sure you've lost your trail of thought. Do you remember where you were at? Well, move on.
Right. Right.
I I can hear myself. There's an echo.
Sorry.
I'm saying there's a bit of an echo. I don't know. I can hear myself speaking. Let's hear. No,
Is there still an echo?
let me see. Uh, it's there. The feedback is there. Is it, you're not using, you did say you changed the device, right?
Am I using a?
You said you've changed the device that you're using. You're not still logged onto the other one.
I've switched it off.
Okay, cool. Let's try. Let's try what we can.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Sure.
No worries. I'm sure it's completely derailed you. I don't expect that you remember where you were at, but we can continue.
Mm.
So, just in terms of like the platform itself, what have been some of the spin-offs through building this? Have there been additional maybe revenue streams that you never even envisioned and that sort of thing? What has come up that was never part of the plan, even popped up later?
I've managed to use the platform to basically pitch for different business projects, right? So to use the platform as particular experience in building an activation space, a conversation space, an audience and insight space, and the curation side of things, particularly myself personally. There are projects which I can't necessarily speak about publicly, but I'll paint the picture as far as developing a space within a public travel facility. So where a lot of people in the country are going to be traveling in and out, where one has been headhunted to say, we've seen what you've built, we know you have a particular taste and a particular direction to it, and we'd like you to build a property that is a transactional revenue business, that where people are going to engage in the physical grooming side of things, and we want you to curate that. And then also from a consulting perspective and working with other businesses, or remember that with making the platform work for small business owners who exhibit their products, those business owners get to know what is it you do in your professional job. And there's bound to be a form of skills interchange there, and a partnership element to that. The revenue side, aside from the form of investment and partnership element with corporates, the first form of vertical that we've launched that's working really well is, again, the spirits and wine business. I think it's a start. We do want to expand on the product side of things and have owned products that we can also be able to cater for and be able to bring to our audience. So I think it's only but the beginning, but I suppose it takes 3 years to move on to other things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think anything that is worthwhile does take a bit of time, and it's good to see how you've evolved. It's beautiful to watch. Now, it obviously takes a team. So you are head curator at the Grooming Social, but just in terms of the team that you have, like, because I always believe, I'm one of those people that I believe you can't achieve great things on your own. Collaboration is absolutely important. Partnerships, leveraging off different skills. How diverse is the team? And you as a curator, what are you bringing to the table? I mean, I've seen you've got, I was saying when you were offline, when you were disconnected at some point, I was telling the audience how meticulous you are and how much attention to detail you pay. And I mean, even with the model here, I'm looking at it and everything, the packaging, everything is just phenomenal. So with the team, the different skill sets, you being head curator, what does that look like? And how do you guys basically sort of complement each other in terms of your skill sets?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll start with the fancy side of things, right? So the fancy side of things is that being a head curator of a platform like this, you're you're planning the next edition with everybody who's involved, from suppliers, from the event venue, from the headline speaker, from the corporate that you've fortunately landed, if you've landed a corporate that has invested in your platform for a particular edition. And you're looking at what the direction of the conversation is looking like, what the theme of the
Welcome.
can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
can hear you.
Yeah, so there's a lot of planning around the traditional essence of what curation goes into. It's a fair bit of work, yeah, and you really only see what the work you have done is at what would be the day after the edition, because even on the day you're hands on managing what is happening at the grooming social, you know what I mean? It's so you never really go to a grooming social event because the what you put out there is not necessarily for you, it's for the audience. And I suppose that is the far more beautiful curation, head curator, business partner side of it. What's really um, what people don't speak a lot about in business is that if you're in a business, you're a salesperson, regardless of what your background is, and how well developed and experienced you are in what your experience is, and whatever title you have on LinkedIn. At the end of the day, if you are in a business and an entrepreneur, you are a salesperson. And the sooner you get to understand and develop your understanding of what the dynamic of sales look like, the better you can actually position how to reach the end goal in what you're doing. So there's a lot of pitching. There's a lot of constant positioning of the platform. There's a lot of back and forth with potential partners. In most cases, never even gets to really be a thing. And there's a lot of success also when you see it come into play. And there's a lot of constant work and development. And you have to have a particular type of experience, attitude, and a particular type of what they call gravitas for that type of thing in order for you to reach the success. Because if you think about, there's a concept in retail that's called boxes, right? Big box, small box, different types of things. Macro is a big box in that particular paradigm scheme. The grooming social doesn't own any property. So the grooming social is a box with no borders. But all that you bring into the platform that becomes a particular type of investment, then you're creating a box, including the audience, including the corporate investment, including the offering, the conversation. That is what I'm referring to as sentiment. And without developing anything with all of those different fundamentals, you actually have nothing to play with. It works in your favor in the sense that one day you wake up you don't have those expenses that a big corporate who would have been offering the same type of service has. But at the same time, you have to work so much more with what you don't have to actually work in bringing something into it. Yeah.
Sure. Wow. Wow. The piece you highlight about having to be a salesperson, I think, I see Tavan's comment also there to say an entrepreneur has to be a salesperson, and that sales is not a function, but it is the business itself. I mean, otherwise, what are you doing? What are you doing? Sure.
He's very right. Yeah. He's extremely right. 100%.
Yeah. No, that's quite impressive. And you're speaking about like the big box, that description of how you've actually kind of contextualized it for us. Now, in terms of, let's call them partnerships or collaborations. So you spoke about having to pitch and all of those things, but you being the grooming social, already when I went onto your page, I mean, I've never been to any one of the editions, and I just thought, if I wanted to be a part of the grooming social, not necessarily as one of the, maybe, what do I call them? What do you call the community? The community, I guess. Is it a community?
So we've tried our best to not have a any form of ownership in the titling of what our audience and who our audience is. We simply call it's our audience. It's people who are part of the grooming social.
Okay. So, because you obviously you did highlight that you do kind of promote other small businesses, etc. So if you
Those are
mentioned the part about
exhibitors.
you doing,
We have exhibitors. We
yeah.
have the audience in itself. We have partners which are mostly on the corporate side of things, all the way into service offering. So we have partners in niche service offering spaces and in broader service offering spaces. We work with all of those different facets in different ways throughout the year. But what it allows us is that the long-term thinking and the relationship building of it is we're able to work so much more fluid because we've been working with the same people for over the years. And what we've been trying to develop is exactly that, the long-term relationship side of things. But I think where your question is heading into is to what is it are you getting out of this, and how do you become a partner? I think I cut you there. Please ask the
Yes,
question.
100%.
Yeah. We have a communication channel, via mail. And what we do is we go out to corporate and we present our platform. We present what the value of it is and what you're buying into as a corporate. And I think we've done a 360 in who it is we want to work with. And this is part of positioning who we are. When we kickstarted the platform, we were very much centered around the conversation element and being a platform about progressive conversation. Then we received quite a bit of requests, and we were also pitching for corporates who can use the space in multiple different ways. We then became a platform that has a conversation centered to it, but also has...
Sorry, I have my little man here interrupting
Oh,
me.
wow.
Come down. Can mommy finish? I'm going to talk to you just now. Okay, you have supper. Can mommy finish? Thank you. There you go. Okay, as long as you promise to just don't do that. Guys, sorry guys. Please go to Manolo's house. We'll check it. Okay, you can sit in Boka's room. Please don't distract. Thank you. This is my life.
No problem. Give me a chance to have some wine. So
Oh,
what
you
I'm saying
need
is,
to get touched there.
what I'm saying is that we then became a platform that
Well, you guys go.